Hey guys, this is information and answers for the week 3 mess board. I'm going to work through them on my handy dandy whiteboard that I forgot my husband had, and then I think this will be a good way for y'all to be able to see me and see what we're doing. Please make sure you get your homework and check off your work with what I'm doing and see how you did. So the first sort of blank on the mess board was under math, and it was to list the multiples of 6, 9, and 12, right? And if you'll remember, you're just listing like the first multiple of 6, right, is 6. Okay, so 6 times 1 is 6, right? And you can think about it like skip counting, or you can think about it as you multiply each 6 by each number in numeric order, right? So the next multiple, 6 times 2 is 12, right? 6 times 3 is 18. 6 times 4 is 24. 6 times 5 is 30. 6 times 6 is 36. 6 times 7 is 42. 6 times 8 is 48. 6 times 9 is 54. 6 times 10 is 60, and you can continue on really forever. So this is quite a few multiples. We went all the way up to 10. Let's look at number 9, right? So if we think about 9 times 1 is 9. 9 times, can you see that? All right, my green marker seems to be a little bit too light, so let's do the black one. 9 times 1 is 9. 9 times 2 is 18. Times 3, 27. 9 times 4 is 36. 9 times 5 is 45. 9 times 6 is 54. 9 times 7 is 63. 9 times 8 is 72. 9 times 9 is 81. And 9 times 10 is 90, right? I did that really quickly, mostly because, right, I know my multiplication facts, and you don't want to sit here and watch me work out every single multiple. If you needed to do repeated addition or use a strategy to get your multiples, that is okay, right? Keep practicing. We're making our list so we know our multiples. Now, 12, a little bit trickier, right? 12 times 1 is 12. Got to think about this. 12 times 2 is 24. 12 times 3 is 36. 12 times 4 is 48. 12 times 5 is 60. 12 times 6 is 72. 12 times 7 is 84. 12 times 8 is 96. 12 times 9 is 108. 12 times 10 is 120, right? So here are our list of multiples. We just added 12 to each number because we're multiplying one more set to find our multiples. All right. The next word problem we have was our time word problem. All right, I'm going to make a little section here, and I'm going to read the word problem from our sheet. It says Jan left home at 7:35 a.m. a.m. is in the morning, and reached school at 8:10 a.m. So we're still talking about the morning time frame, right? We didn't cross into afternoon. How many minutes did she travel? So the strategy that I really want you to keep using, I still use it, is our T-chart. We know when we think about a word problem, right? First, we have to think about the story. So Jan was headed to school. She left the house at a certain time. She arrived at school at a certain time. And then we need to build in our facts, okay? So 7:35 a.m., that's when she left, right? And we know that she arrived at 8:10 in the morning, okay? So those are our facts. We need to know how many minutes it took her to get there, okay? So this is where, whatever amount of time you added in each section is okay. I'm going to start really basic and just add 5 minutes to take my 7:35 time to 7:40 a.m. Okay? And then I can get a little trickier. So I know that 7:40, I could add 20 minutes and bring my time to 8 o'clock a.m. Okay? That's me. However you get, right, for your adding your time to get from your starting point to your ending point, that's okay too. Now, when I look at 8 o'clock and I know that she arrived at school at 8:10, I think, well, I can simply add 10 more minutes and we'll get to our ending time, right? 8:10 there matches with my ending time. I'm not finished yet though, because the question that was asked is how many minutes did she travel? This right here, that set of minutes was her travel time. So we need to add up 5 minutes, 20 minutes, and 10 minutes, right? Your numbers over here may look different than mine, and that's okay, but ultimately our travel time is the same. I know that 20 minutes and 10 minutes makes 30 minutes, and then I've got 5 more minutes. So Jan traveled for 35 minutes to get to school, right? So here we go, 35 minutes. That should be the same. All our answers should be 35 minutes. That was her travel time. All right. Our next section, I think I'm going to go ahead and erase this. Used too much on my board. And we'll start our next problem. Okay. The next question was, how many minutes are in 17 hours? Right? So, first thing we need to ask ourselves is, well, how many minutes are in 1 hour? Right? There are 60 minutes in 1 hour. So then our question is, well, how many minutes balances, right, 17 hours? Now we could add 60 minutes over and over and over until we got to 7 and add it 17 times, right? That repeated addition is multiplication. So we could add 60 minutes over and over and over until we got to where we had added it 17 times. I think maybe a more efficient way to look at this is multiplication. Okay? 60 minutes, 17 times. right? 60 times 17. So I'm going to choose to do this a couple of ways. I'm going to show you our area model. Right? 60, we have 60 tens and then 0 ones. 6 tens is 60 and 0 ones. And we have 1 10 and 17 and 7 ones. Okay? 10 times 60 is 600. 10 times 0 is 0. 7 times 60 is 420. 7 times 0 is 0. Right? And then we're going to add up these minutes. 600, 420, 0, and 0. So 1,020 minutes fits here. So I'm going to erase my question mark because now we know 1,020 minutes balances 17 hours. There are 1,020 minutes in 17 hours. Okay? I could also do this with my standard algorithm. Okay? 7 times 0 is 0. 7 times 6 is 42. I need my placeholder 0 here because we're moving on to multiplying our tens place. 1 times 0 is 0. 1 times 6 is 6. I need to add these two partial products because that's really what it is. 0 plus 0, 2 plus 0, 4 plus 6, and still 1,020 minutes, right? Makes sense? Two different ways to do the multiplication. The answer still comes out the same. All right. In that same box, there's a second question, a part B, and that's talking about how many hours are in 14 days. Okay? So, first question you're going to ask yourself is, well, how many hours are in one day? Right? There are 24 hours in one day. Right? So then our question is, well, how many hours are in 14 days? How are we going to balance this, right, to make it equivalent? All right, so if we know 24 hours in one day, our first strategy could be repeated addition. We're going to add 24 over and over and over 14 times to get our answer. I'm going to choose to do a more efficient math for fourth graders, and we're going to multiply, because we're repeated addition is multiplication. We're going to multiply 24 hours times 14 days. What are we going to get? Okay, so again, I'll do my area model here. There are 2 10s and 20. There are 4 1s and 24. There is 1 10 and 14 and 4 1s in 14. Okay. 20 times 10 is 200. 4 times 10 is 40. 20 times 4 is 80. 4 times 4 is 16. Okay? When I add up my partial products, 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus 6, 0 plus 4 plus 8 is 12, and one more is 13. Need to regroup that 1. 1 and 2 is 3. Okay? Now, our standard algorithm, if that's how you choose to do your multiplication, that's fantastic as well. 4 times 4 is 16. 4 times 2 is 8, and then I carried or regrouped this 1, 10, so I add it. That's 9. I have my placeholder 0 since I've moved to multiplying in my tens place. 1 times 4 is 4. 1 times 2 is 2. And then I need to add my partial products. 9 plus 0, 6 plus 0 is 6. 9 plus 4 is 13. 2 plus 1 is 3. Right? So I know, I double checked my math, I did it 2 ways, and I know that 336 hours balances with 14 days. Okay? All right. Our last section on the math part of our week 3 board is to make 3 equivalent fractions for, let me get it closer here so I can read it, 3/4, right? All right, so equivalent fractions. We know that equivalent means equal, right? So we need 3 fractions that would be the same sort of portion of a fraction or quantity of a fraction to 3/4, right? There's a couple things we can think about, right? On our number line here, this starts us at 0, and this is our 1/2. Try to eyeball this as best I can, right? 3/4 is on my number line here. So I want fractions, 3 of them, that line up to my 3/4 line, right? They all kind of line up close to that. Now, in a book we read a lot earlier in our year, right, we learned that you can, if you do the same function, so you multiply or divide by multiply or use a reducer, what you do on the top, you need to do on the bottom, right? What happens for the numerator needs to happen for the denominator. So something simple is thinking, well, if I multiply by 2, right, and I do it on the numerator and the denominator, what am I going to get? Well, 3 times 2 is 6. 4 times 2 is 8. Okay? And we can check that if we think, well, here's my 0 and here's my 1. But instead of partitioning my number line into 4s, I'm going to partition it into 8s. So here's 4 parts. If I separate each of those, I end up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right? And 6/8 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right? Now, those line up pretty closely considering I'm the one that was drawing them. So that would be an equivalent fraction. All right? So now, we multiplied the top and the bottom by 2. We got 6/8, and we demonstrated here that is, in fact, an equivalent fraction. Right? So you could pick any other number. We could pick, I like multiplying by 5. Right? 3 times 5 is 15. And 4 times 5 is 20. My marker's running out. Whew. Sorry about that, guys. Okay. So again, that's 8. Woo. I'm playing that so well, guys. Try my number line again. I apologize. All right. Okay. This is trickier because there's more parts, but I separated this half into 10 so that I know I can separate this half into 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, right? Not as close because of my artwork, but I can tell you for sure because I multiply the top and the bottom by the same number, the numerator and the denominator by the same number, I did get an equivalent fraction. Now, for 3/4, it's tricky to have a reducer. I was thinking about this, and I cannot think of any number because 3/4 is the smallest possible fraction you can make. There's not a reducer, okay? So we can't make it smaller. To find an equivalent fraction, we're going to have to do another set of multiplication for the numerator and the denominator to get an equivalent fraction. So I multiplied by 2 here, by 5 here. I don't really want to get any more parts than 20 sections on this number line. So I'm going to go back and multiply by 3. Okay? You can do any number you choose. 3 times 3 is 9. 4 times 3 is 12. 9/12 is an equivalent fraction to 3/4, right? I partition this into thirds, right? Then I can partition it again and get sixths. And I can separate each of those into 2 parts to get 12, which is our total pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And they all pretty much line up considering I am the artist, right? So those are our equivalent fractions for the final step in this week 3 mess board. All right. All right. One section, it asks you, the very first ELA section asks you to write in cursive the months of the year, right? We're still practicing cursive. January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September. Ooh, that got messy. August, September, October, December. All right, I want you to pay attention because, and notice, I very rarely picked up my marker, right? That's a key to cursive writing. And there's a ton of YouTube videos on cursive writing, but I did not pick up my marker often, only in certain letters when I capitalized, okay? And then finally, we have our pronouns, where we replace nouns with a different word, an alternate word, or a pronoun, okay? So our first sentence, Harry and Megan, right? We can replace that word. It's a plural. There's two people, right? So this can be they moved to, the sentence says Canada, right? They. This is our pronoun that we can use, okay? Our next one, Mom and I, okay? So in this sentence, there are two people that the sentence is referring to, but one of them is yourself, Mom and I. So we would replace that with the pronoun we. When you're including yourself in the group, we went to the store to buy toilet paper. Yes, we came up with this after all of the craziness. Teachers made that special for your parents, really. So hopefully they found it funny. Our next sentence, Mrs. Purell. All right. And so when you're speaking about one person, it's someone else, and the person is a female. We know that person is a female because of the word, the Mrs. here, right? So we would say she. The pronoun that we would use is she sent more hand sanitizer to the classroom. Right? And our last sentence features Mr. Mihal. Right? So here we're referring to one person, singular, that's not ourselves, and we know it's not female but male, right? Mr. tells us this is a guy we're talking about, a man. So he is the pronoun we would use. Forgot to make an announcement at school last month. Right? So in each of my sentences, I capitalized the first word that we had changed to a pronoun. There is punctuation in each of my sentences. Had to go back and add that there. So these are the pronouns that you would use to replace in the sentences we provided you on the choice board. I will be working on the week 4 choice board answers, but hopefully this helped, and it was helpful to you. Have a great day.